Hey everybody, this is your friend Wax, WAX. Put it on the wax. I'm coming to you with a short video, but first, like, share, and subscribe. Community News 103. Community News 103. I would appreciate you if you like, share, and subscribe. The video I'm showing today will be on coding. As I was listening to one of Kwame Brown's videos, shout out to Kwame Brown, sprinkling some good mama's cooking and some seasoning on coding. Coding in the school is very important. It's computer programming for kids. Teach them how to make their own computer program, their own apps, and things of that nature. So just watch the video. I dug up a little research information for you. Like, share, and subscribe. Community News 103. Brother Wax. I've noticed that when I visit my friends and relatives, that the kids are mostly playing video games for hour over hour after hour. And the kids could be learning this at the same time, how to program the computer to create their own games and create their own apps for their cell phones. I've noticed when with Kwame Brown, he's been talking about the fourth grade reading level, and none of the people that's hating on him, they ever address the issue of coding in schools and the fourth grade reading level of our kids. They only want to focus on the negative shit.
Go ahead and not like me, but ask them a simple question. So, you don't like him, but the things that he's saying could be positive in our community. So, what about that? Can we get to those things? Watch how they tremble, because they're not used to getting to what someone is saying. They're used to attacking people' character, attacking people's message, and then you guys not believing in the person, so the message die. This message is bigger than me. They're attaching them to something negative.
I gotta agree with Kwame Brown that they're not addressing the point, the issue, which is the fourth grade reading level of the kids in the United States. All they address is the negativity, the cursing, the back and forth. They bringing out different people to speak for them. They're the go along, get along game. But they're not addressing the positive things that Kwame Brown is saying. So let's finish the video with Kwame, and then we'll go to some coding information.
You don't even go there to see what kid it affected, because they're reading at a fourth grade reading level, remember? So your money obviously ain't been working. We need to pay some teachers the same salary we need to pay some teachers some six-figure salaries to teach coding to these kids, since they our future, right? Look at all the top guys, Bill Gates, all these guys, these people that build Facebook, Instagram, Zuckerberg, they all did coding. The creators, the innovators, the builders, they do coding. And if children are our future, why that ain't in every school? For the free. We can't take a little less from the judges that's just sentencing. We can't take a little less from the athletes that's just playing. We can't take a little less for this research and this study that goes nowhere. And we can't put more into what we say is our future. We'd rather get people in their feelings about surgeries and all kind of shit, but we're not getting them in their feelings about teaching them something that numbers can show. Numbers show that this is effective. So why we ain't following the numbers? Why we following the feelings? Oh, you don't want nothing to change, do you? Oh, okay. That's what I thought. That's exactly what I thought. That's probably why I'm catching more heat than our so-called revolutionaries.
What is coding, and should it be used in our schools? So we want to simply answer this question. So here's some brief information that I have coming up before the video. And coding is instructing a computer to do some simple functions And what kind of language would you have to use to ask the computer to do these functions? Coding, what is it and should it be in the schools? You be the judge. Watch the short video and then you make the decision. Should we have this in the school to teach the kids how to make their own program?
Only fitting, the place that nurtured the likes of Sir Isaac Newton is now the birthplace of a whole new scientific revolution. One that is all about cracking the code of the future. Meet the modern-day radicals behind it, a group of 9-year-olds armed with a bunch of rope and pictures, who at first glance seem to be setting up a huge game of hopscotch, but actually they're laying out the biggest thing to hit British schools in a century.
So the person at the front of each group now is going to be a programmable elephant. Now,
Peter Gaynard is a teacher at Histon Impington Junior School just outside of Cambridge.
They can only do one instruction at a time. You can't sort of say forward and turn to the right. Just one instruction.
Gaynard's lesson today, how to create an algorithm using something the kids can relate to. Local landmarks in their own village, like a grocery store and a preschool.
I want you as a group now to guide your person from the start position to the Tesco's and then onto the infant school.
So it should go forward, 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 forward. Yes, forward, left, 1, 2, 3, yeah.
It's part of a brand new curriculum in Britain that teaches students at every grade level how to read and write computer programs. It's a whole new set of ABCs, where the C stands for coding.
Forward, forward.
Computer coding.
This doesn't look like computer programming.
This is the sort of the precursor to computer program. This is where the children are now actually designing an algorithm, so they're actually designing a solution to a problem. So what they're doing now is free from the constraints of typing in a particular computer code and language into a machine. They're actually working out the algorithmic steps to solve this problem. So they're having some fun along the way.
Here's the man who started all that fun. Simon Peyton-Jones, Microsoft researcher and accidental activist.
I want them to feel empowered.
Peyton-Jones had a light bulb moment 8 years ago when he realized his own kids certainly knew how to use a computer, but barely knew how computers work. They weren't learning to create the very programs they were consuming.
I sat round the dinner table and said, what are you doing at school, as you do as a parent, and they were studying this subject ICT, and I found I could not make a connection between the professional discipline about which I'm so excited that I've devoted my professional life to it, and the subject they were studying at school.
Peyton-Jones started a grassroots organization called CAS, Computing at School.
It represents a step change in what we're asking our teachers to teach.
The goal? To create a new discipline, computing, and to teach it at every grade level.
If you don't know something about how computer systems work, so you can program them at some elementary level, then you run the risk of being the one who is being programmed. So there was a lot of fuss that led up to this.
The revolutionary manifesto that came out of all that lobbying is all of 3 pages long.
This is the new national curriculum for computing in England. It's only 3 sides of A4. This one is largely blank.
Like I said, I was expecting something a little more impressive.
It's so I think this is impressive because it's short, right? So it says very unambiguously that every child should understand the fundamental principles and concepts of computer science.
Britain's new curriculum makes computer coding a new subject discipline, like reading and writing, starting in kindergarten. It's a bold move, the boldest in a growing global movement. Australia and Holland are adding coding to their curriculums. Most of the EU is thinking about it.
Hi, I'm Leah.
And I'm Tanya.
And we're lucky enough to be studying computer science.
Hi, I'm Tanya.
And there's a hard sell underway in the US from the president.
Don't just buy a new video game, make one.
To NBA players.
I know it can be intimidating. A lot of things are intimidating.
Dozens of school districts in over 24 states are now adding coding into their curriculums. And yep, Peyton-Jones' phone has been ringing non-stop.
The change in the English national curriculum has excited intense international interest, because they look at the new program of study and they say, wow, they're going to teach computer science to 6-year-olds? You know, I've had conversations with colleagues in the United States, you know, in France, in Germany, in Switzerland, in Singapore, in South Korea, in New Zealand, you know, all over the world, Poland. Countries
Canada?
are looking. Actually, you're the first contact I've had from Canada, I believe.
Let's try putting it too close. If it's too close, it turns away, right?
In fact, it's fair to say in Canada, right now, coding is for outliers, the stuff of after-school clubs and camps.
We'll look at a while loop first.
Or the occasional workshop in schools that actively promote science and technology learning.
Good morning, Sandra.
And then there are the startups, like this classroom in Oakville, Ontario.
Okay, so quick try again. Let's see what the instructions say.
You just keep doing that until it makes the square.
Coding is not an official part of any curriculum in Canada. It's usually offered in some schools as an elective in high school.
Why is he going right into there?
Not enough and not soon enough for teachers like Cameron Stoutman. He simply integrated it into his grade 6 math and science plan.
It's so close. You can do it.
I think it's so important for them. This is something that we need. The world is changing so much. They're going to graduate into a world where there's going to be a massive shortage of computer programmers. And so now if they can get that little taste now where they're excited about it, then when they go into high school, they'll feel comfortable and confident to take those classes, which will then lead them into doing it in university. And when they're done, they'll have a world of opportunity for them. Good for you.
Jobs are a huge part of the push towards digital literacy. There are tens of thousands of vacant jobs in the technology field in Canada right now, and more than 1 million projected in the coming decade.
Okay, will you hold my finger and turn me?
Eric Schmidt certainly needs to hire more people, and part of the reason Google announced a $1.5 million grant last fall to teach Canadian children how to code. The money is financing camps, but Schmidt told us then schools must step in too.
Knowledge workers are the ones that are getting the raises, they're getting the jobs and so forth. There are shortages worldwide in all of these fields. So the education system needs to change to produce them.
But wholesale change, especially in a country where education is managed by each province, is not easy.
Computer science is going to lead the way in terms of available jobs.
Chris Stevenson knows that. Stevenson was a top educator in Ontario before making the move to Google.
And I've never seen a more exciting time for computer science education,
where she now promotes computer science learning to teachers and policymakers, like this group in Buffalo, New York.
The more I talk to people, the more I think it's about confusion. And I think that a lot of people assume that if there are computers in the schools and the kids are doing something with them, that they're learning these skills. And when I talk to parents, they are so shocked when I say to them, they're not.
Stevenson says educators and parents need to start a movement and follow England's lead, starting yesterday.
What's at stake? Everything. I mean, I know that sounds very dramatic, but what's more fundamental to the health of a country than providing people with the skills to get the jobs that they need to have a good livelihood? And when we look at the rest of the world educating their kids as fast as they possibly can for these jobs in this global economic marketplace, to ignore this for our kids is to rob them of their future.
Okay, a couple more minutes.
Back in Britain, it's only been a year since coding has been in every classroom.
These things conduct electricity.
And starting from scratch means a lot of room to improvise.
So if you push it inside, you've connected it electrically.
That's where the fruits and vegetables come in.
It's quite odd because you don't usually use them for much things, you just use them to eat and make like salad. But then it's good because like if you don't want to waste your vegetables, you could just go off and program something.
It's a fun lesson in conducting electricity that is powering up their own programs.
What do you guys think of the fact that you just created your own game?
Well, it's really fun. It's fun when you do it because you don't have any limits where you can go. You can do what you want. It's like it's your world and you can do it.
Lucy?
And for Peter Gaynard, that is the most valuable lesson of all.
As a teacher, that's the perfect kind of teaching, isn't it? You kind of
blow out these sort of crumbs of learning, and the children just grasp it and run with it, and it's great. It's making it seem, all the extra work that I'm putting in to try and launch the new curriculum, and it makes it all seem worthwhile for me. These children are dragging it down from the top. They want this curriculum, they want to have that ability, they want to be so empowered with technology, and it's great.
Looking back to this year, how would you grade it?
Oh, A+.
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 A+ for year one, and for the children who are literally writing their own future, a future that is already here and may already be beyond Canada's grasp. Joanna Brumeliotis, CBC News, Cambridge.
I respect and I salute you. That's what you're supposed to do. Everybody just want to give money. People keep talking about, oh, I donate to this country, I donate to this country. Well, you paying the salary of the organization that you paid into. You don't know where your money going. You don't even go there to see.